Hello everyone and welcome back. Before you add an activity or an interactive to your exhibition, ask yourself this question. Is it actually helping visitors understand something better, or is it simply giving visitors something to do? Because not all interactives improve interpretation. Some deepen attention, knowledge, comparison, insight, and others are just noise and distraction and maybe add a little bit of movement. So here are 3 questions to ask before you add an interactive. And as always, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and please do add your comments below. Let's dive into this. The first question to ask is, what does it add that a label, an object, or image cannot? This matters because an interactive should bring something extra. It should add a new way of understanding, not just repeat information in a more complicated format. For example, if you have a touchscreen that simply repeats what the label already says, that is probably not a very strong interactive. But if you have a slider that shows how a ruined building changed over time, or a digital layer that lets visitors compare an original object with a reconstruction, then the interactive is doing something useful. The same goes for physical interactives. A replica object that visitors can lift may help them understand weight, balance, or effort in a way that a label never could. It can also be a simple decision-making activity. For example, choosing which item to pack for a journey can help visitors understand constraint, priority, or risk. So the key point here is, if the interactive does not add a new way of understanding, it may not need to be there. The second question is, does it sharpen focus or steal attention from the thing that actually matters? This is a really important one because some interactives become the main event. They are bright, noisy, or game-like, and instead of sending visitors back to the object, they pull all the attention away from it. A good interactive should support the interpretive moment. It should help visitors look more closely, think more carefully, or make a stronger connection. And if you can do this, especially on an emotional level, that is a really, really strong interactive moment. For example, a handling replica beside an original object can sharpen focus beautifully. Visitors handle the object and then they look back at the original with a new understanding. It can also be a flap, a slider, a drawer that can work well if it helps reveal a hidden process, a comparison, or an extra layer of meaning. It can also sometimes be a simple question that may be emotionally relevant to the story you have just told in your exhibition. A really strong example of this is allowing visitors to leave something behind. If they can in some way leave their own thoughts, their own experiences, perhaps even of something that is for them very meaningful or even rather emotional. That's a very strong interactive as well, because it allows visitors to not just think about an experience or a memory in this case, as in the example you see on the screen, but also allows them to think about, what do I actually want others to maybe read about? If other people who don't know me or the visitors come along and read my experience, they might not know me, but what do I actually want to leave behind? And that is a very strong interactive element as well, if that can somehow be incorporated. But a large digital game across the room may easily become a distraction if the object itself disappears from you mentally or physically. So ask, does this bring visitors closer to the story, or does it simply compete with it? Because a good interactive should not overpower the exhibition and the theme and the story in the exhibition. It should direct attention back to what matters. The third question is, what is the visitor actually meant to do, or what are they meant to realize? In other words, what is the action and what is the takeaway? If the action is vague, press buttons, have fun, engage more, that kind of thing, then the interactive probably needs more thought. A strong interactive has a very clear connection between what the visitor does and what they come away understanding. So a few examples. Compare two materials and notice the difference in labor or quality. Match an object to its use and discover how specialized everyday work once was. Test the weight of a tool and understand the physical effort involved. Hear two conflicting viewpoints and decide what they think. In each case, the action leads somewhere. It helps the visitor understand, feel, or notice something more clearly, and that is the real test. The action should lead to an idea, an insight, an emotional connection, a greater understanding, not just an activity. So before you add an interactive, ask what kind of understanding it creates. Because the best interactives do more than just keep hands busy, they sharpen understanding. And if the activity does not lead to insight, it might actually be the wrong activity. I think sometimes as interpreters or exhibition creators, we fall into the trap of wanting to make everything hands-on. And it's a good thought if it works. The problem is if you are actually drowning your story, your objects, or the real theme of the exhibition in hands-on elements. They need to complement, they need to sharpen understanding, they need to provide insight to your story. I would like to ask if you have some good interactive examples that might do some of these things. What did you think of them? How did they work? Please add your comments below, and thanks so much for tuning in.